What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Extending the Conversation on the BodyCompRx YouTube channel. My name is Jake. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at BodyCompRx. Today, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into workout programs and why your workout program may not be doing what it needs to do for you. All right, let's get into it. The place where I want to start today is talking about some common problems that I see with a lot of people when they're either in a workout program or trying to find a workout program, or even if they're trying to make their own workout program. Okay. The first problem that I see with people in workout programs is that they pick one that's too short. Okay. We talked about this in the main episode, so I won't talk about this too long, but picking a program that's too short is not going to give you results, at least sustainable results, for a long period of time. Okay. So if you're doing a 21-day challenge or a 30-day program, right, those things may be good for you in the short term, but they don't teach you things um, like patience, I guess, but in the sense of you're not going to experience rapid results every single time that you do a program. So it kind of it's not a fairy tale because those things do exist and you can't get rapid results within a short program, but that's not going to happen forever, right? So picking a program that's longer is going to teach you, to take small wins and not big wins, like, bumping up weight 2.5 pounds or something like that. Or you're able to get an extra rep of a weight that you did 3 weeks ago, right? Not super big wins. But what this is going to do is it's going to teach you to acclimate to the program, right? It's going to teach you things that you like and dislike about the particular program that you're in, because when you're in too short of a program, it goes by so quick that you can't even like really reflect on it because it's over before you know it. And then three, it'll actually give you progress because 8 to 12 weeks is when you physically start to notice things that are different about yourself and when other people start to notice things different about yourself. But we're victims of being our own worst enemy as far as like the hardest person to impress is usually ourselves. So when we look in the mirror after 8 to 12 weeks is generally when we start to see those results that we're looking for. Another problem that I see is that people don't pick a program that fits their goals and what they can actually accomplish throughout the week, right? And this may sound a little mean, and I'm sorry if it comes off that way, but an example of this is someone who picks a 6 day a week program, right? But they may only be realistically be able to train, let's say, 3 days a week. Okay. So a 3 day a week program is usually a lot more intense because we know that we can't get as much volume in as per se the 6 day a week program. So the 6 day a week program may cater to someone who, one, loves the gym and doesn't mind going that many days a week, but two, doesn't really want super intense workouts, maybe, and they like their volume to be split up over multiple days per week. Okay. So when you only train 3 days a week on a 6 day a week program, you're really cutting your results short because the goals of the program and your goals don't necessarily match up, right? So that's why we want to get those things on the same page. Another mistake that I see people make is that they get too hard on themselves, when messing something up within their program. You know, I think maybe this is just me, but when I make a mistake, I can pretty easily throw it out the window and focus on what's coming next. But I know not everyone's like that. So when you make a mistake, don't fixate too much on it, especially if it's like an 8 or a 12-week program, because the likelihood is that you're going to be training tomorrow or the next day, right? And you get back on track, right? You don't necessarily need to, you know, be so hard on yourself or do double the amount of work because you missed a day. It's all right. Life gets in the way. Let that be your off day, and then get back on track with the rest of your programming and you'll be all good to go. Okay. Now, so I don't want to just talk about mistakes because that would be a pretty big downer for the sake of the video. So what I do want to talk about is maybe some more tips to help you look for a better program for yourself and how to make your own program if that's something that you'd be interested in. So when you're trying to make your own program or look for a program, you first have to figure out how many days a week you can actually train, right? I talked about it in the mistakes part. Figure out the days, the amount of days per week that you can train, and start off there. So if it's 3, great. If it's 4, great. Whatever your number is, figure that out first, okay? Next, what you need to do is figure out what your specific goals that you want out of the program. Everyone kind of has a broad idea of what they want to do. Oh, I'm trying to build muscle. Oh, I'm trying to lose fat, and stuff like that. But I challenge you to be a little bit more specific about your your goals. So if you're trying to build muscle, where are you trying to build muscle? Are you trying to build muscle in your arms, in your glutes, in your chest, in your back? Whatever those muscle groups are, write that down as well, because that's going to be important for your programming. Once you figure out your focuses of your program, what muscle groups you want to work on, depending on how many days you are going to train, you're going to have more volume of those muscle groups you're going to try and work on than all the rest of the muscle groups. Okay. So let's say I'm training 3 days a week, right? And my priority is chest. We'll say I'm trying to grow my chest. Okay. I would want to train chest twice a week, whereas I can train everything else maybe once a week. Okay. What this is going to do is it's going to make sure that I'm getting the maximum amount of volume that I can for the muscle groups that I'm worried about, but still hit everything else and not neglect those things, because I'm focused on my chest. All right. If you're new to the gym, what I would recommend is, if you're making your program for yourself, is start off with 2 to 3 days a week and go full body every single time. Okay. I'll explain why. So when you're new, you don't need the amount of volume that, someone who's been training for 10, 15 plus years may need, right? Because they already have a ton of muscle. They need a higher stimulus, a higher amount of weight in order to break down that muscle and rebuild new muscle, right? So when you're new, you recover really, really quickly. So training full body will allow you to get really good intensity. It'll allow you to get more challenging workouts right from the start, because you can combine things that maybe don't necessarily go together. Like you can do a dumbbell curl into a shoulder press, as opposed to doing them individually, doing dumbbell curls and then shoulder press both as individual exercises. It allows you to get a lot done within the same amount of workout time, if that makes sense. One thing that I want to clear up is that if you're not necessarily a bodybuilder, or you're not necessarily into weightlifting, is these tips for making a program and looking for a program still apply to you. So let's say you're a runner, right? If you're a runner and you're trying to do a marathon, let's say, you take these same principles of deciding how many days a week you can realistically train, and then what your focus is, right? So if you're trying to work on hills, right, you can work on hills. If you're trying to work on um, dirt versus concrete, stuff like that. I'm not a runner, so I don't know, but these things still apply to you, right? You have to figure out what your goals are, how many days a week you can train, and then you want to worry about over time ramping up your training intensity and volume. Every program should make you a little bit better than what you previously were before you started the program, right? So if it's weightlifting, you're stronger. If it's running, maybe you can get a faster, you can get faster times, or you can run for longer, stuff like that, right? So every program should do that. But one thing that people don't talk about a lot is what's called the deload. Okay. This applies to weightlifting in the sense that after a while you get fatigued, right? And instead of taking total time off from the gym, you go into the gym, you do the exact same programming that you were supposed to do, but with reduced weights, reduced reps, reduced sets. So that way you can work on technique. You can get, you can stay in the habit and the routine of going to the gym. It'll help kind of build confidence in a way, to the point where I don't necessarily need to be moving heavier weight than last time every single day to make progress, because it'll be beneficial for you too. Okay. So you take, let's say, a week where you're working on lower intensity, lower volume things, and working on your technique. So you're actively resting, basically. You're still going through the same things, but not as hard as you would. And then you take back off and you go back onto your regular programming, and it'll be like a nice little refresher for you, if that makes sense. Same thing for running, right? At some point, your feet, your shins, your knees, they might start hurting, right? And you might start feeling a little bit more fatigued. So what you can do is 1 week or a couple of weeks, you can taper back the distance in which you run, the speed in which you run, and you make them a little bit more mild. So that way you can still get those reps in, but not completely take time off. And then that way, once you go back, you can continue your programming and continue your upward progression as opposed to going upward, breaking, and then dipping down, and then attempting to come back and then try to go back up. What you're doing is you're going up through your program, you're basically taking a pause, and then you go back up. So that way you never lose any of the progress that you made, if that makes sense. The place that I want to finish this with is I'll give you an idea of what my program looks like. So that way maybe that'll help you guys figure out what you need to do in order to make your own program. Sound good? So my personal split is a 4-day-a-week program. Now let's go over the steps. I chose 4 because I can do 5, but generally, if I do 5, I don't like working out on the weekends. It's not really my thing. I like to rest on the weekends. If I do 5, that would mean I have to train all 5 days during the week. Now, I feel like if I do that, my strength and my energy slowly decreases throughout the week, and that means whatever workouts are scheduled for later in the week, those workouts generally take a massive hit because I'm not feeling it. I'm not as strong. I picked 4 days because that was the best balance for me, to get the amount of volume that I want and, still be happy with the amount of days a week that I'm training while getting recovery done. Monday is a full body day. I like doing full body on Mondays because it kind of helps me just like go through the motions. I can work on things that, I have a higher emphasis on, right? Like for me, I work on my my calves, my chest, and my back, right? Those are my main 3 things. So usually that first day is when I hit all of those things for the first time, and then I get extra volume of those things because that's what I'm trying to work on, right? So I take Tuesday off. Wednesday, I hit chest and arms. So that hits my second day of chest. I get my arms in because I need to hit my arms. The next day, I go in for lower, I hit legs, and then I hit calves again, right? Because calves are another emphasis of mine. And then Friday, I go in and I do back and shoulders, right? So now I hit back for the second time, and then I hit shoulders as well. So I hit all of my muscle groups throughout the week, and then all the things that I have emphasis on, I trained twice, so I get more volume. This is just what works best for me. I find it fun. Full body days when I can kind of mess around and make up some exercises where, again, they don't necessarily go together, but it's a little bit more high intense for me, and it's just a little bit more challenging, and I find that fun. Whereas the other 3 days of the week are more like strength bodybuilding focused, and that's when I can work on increasing my numbers, breaking down my muscle tissue, building it back up, so on and so forth. So hopefully that helped. But yeah, guys, I'll just wrap it up there. If you guys have any more questions on workout programs, or if you have any issues with your workout program and you want to know how to resolve some of those issues, feel free to let us know down in the comments, and I'll do my best to try and help if you have any issues. And yeah, hope you found this helpful. Hope you found this entertaining. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.
Thanks again for tuning into our podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to listen to this week's episode.
If you enjoyed the conversation, we would love it if you shared this with someone who would find this helpful. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at bodycomprx for more tips and information. We'll catch you guys in the next episode.